Hey, I'm Dylan Sprayberry. I play Liam Dunbar in the Teen Wolf movie, and this is Young Entertainment Mag.
Hi, I'm Daniela with Young Entertainment Mag. Again
Cool.
for joining us. So pumped to have you. Glad you had a good Thanksgiving and a good gym sesh. I'm jealous. I haven't gotten to go to the gym today. It's been so busy. Well, we're going to dive right in. So, what was it like when you found out Teen Wolf was coming back? Did it take any convincing to get you to jump back on board, or were you so pumped when you heard the news?
It didn't take any convincing. I was honestly surprised. I really thought that we were going to put Teen Wolf away, at least for a lot longer than that. It was a really pleasant surprise whenever I got a text from Jeff Davis asking me, like, if there was a movie, would you want to do it? It was very like, if there was, what if? And I was like, hell yeah, of course.
That's so cool. Okay, and how funny is that that came from a text and not like a call
Yeah.
or something or even an email?
Well, I think it was very much so wanting to just make sure everyone was on board. And I think there was something nice and personal about Jeff reaching out, like
Yeah.
more over the phone through text. And I guess, I think he texted me and then I like immediately called him right after that. I was like, what are you talking about? What's going on?
Yeah, you're like, you can't just stop at the text. I need to hear everything.
Yeah, yeah.
That is so cool. So, what has Liam been up to since graduation? Where do we see Liam like at the start of the film?
Well, I'll still keep it light regardless because
Okay.
I'm not trying to get murdered by the Teen Wolf Police.
Yeah.
Because they're serious about their spoilers. I think I spoiled something at New York Comic Con. I said that Hikari plays is my girlfriend, and everyone was like, "Well, we didn't know that." And I thought everyone knew that, and so I kind of screwed the pooch on that one. And I was wondering why Jeff was looking at me from across the stage, like with this. He was like, and
No.
I was
That,
like, "Why is he looking at me like that?" And then yeah,
oh
so
no.
but that's okay. So I mean, I since I already ruined that, I can say that. Since Liam graduated, he moved away and met Hikari, his now girlfriend, and started a completely new life, which definitely ties into the movie. It's a key part of the storyline, which is why I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to ruin it or spoil it, and it's
Yeah,
better just to see it, straight from the screen.
totally.
But he's definitely grown a lot. I think my character's 27, so the last time you see him, he's like 17 or 18. Um, so that was probably the big where is he now thing is honestly the maturity and moving away from Beacon Hills and having a completely separate life from the pack and everyone else.
Yeah, that's so cool. We're so excited to watch. So, what's your favorite thing about Liam? Was there anything that you missed about getting to play him all the time that you're so excited to get back into now?
Um, I mean, a lot of things. It's fun because growing up playing Liam, I started on Teen Wolf when I was 15,
Wow.
and so I really kind of had a lot of growth as an actor on that show. The time I would have spent in high school was spent on set, and so there's a lot of the character that really feels like me, and I feel like Jeff and all the other writers were very specific about finding the similarities and ways to kind of stitch the real actor and the character together. And so playing Liam is really fun because I get to kind of just dive into myself and kind of almost merge Liam's life with my life and kind of see what plays, what where the through lines are, and then what has to come more from imagination.
Yeah.
Um, so that was really fun, and I missed doing the fight scenes, and I missed the roar, which was really fun to do. I always loved doing the roar, and even in ADR, we did some voice recording the other day, and we get to do all the roars, and it's just really fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
That's so cool. I love it. And that's so crazy that you started when you were 15. So that
Hmm.
truly was like the show grew with you, but like you grew with the show. That's got to be like one of the coolest experiences, and it's pretty unique as an actor to have like such longevity in a show at such a young age. So
Hmm.
that's really
I
cool.
didn't even really, I didn't recognize it like that when I was younger. Even it was just, I was just working. I was just wanted to do a good job, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but now looking back, it's crazy to see the growth. And I went back and watched a lot of the episodes the other day, and it was just weird to see. You can see me getting older through the seasons, and it's really interesting.
Yeah. That's so cool. Oh my gosh, talk about like how sick to show your kids someday, right? I mean, I don't know if you have kids, but like, look, this is dad, like, a whole like saga of you growing up. That's so fun.
Oh yeah, one day that's gonna be hilarious.
That's so cool. So, do you have a memory from when you were on the original Teen Wolf series that you've never shared, but like you've always wanted to?
Ooh, oh wow. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I I think on like season 5, maybe season 5B, I was going through like a breakup or something, and uh I remember always kept my acoustic guitar in my trailer, and it was this one I had had for a good amount of time, and I was going through this breakup, and I got some text, I think, that just like really upset me, and I went outside, and I just took my guitar and I just smashed it on the ground in the parking lot of the set, and I think I was like just in my underwear and like shoes or something. Like I don't know. It was, like I was a teenager and I was very angsty and angry, and I didn't think anyone was there. And then I looked up and there was this old dude. I forget his name. This hilarious guy who drove was one of like the truck drivers, and he was just looking at me, and I'm like, it was just about that time, and I think that's what I said. It was just about that time, or like it's overdue, or I said something, or I said like I had to do it. I don't know. It was this weird moment with me and this guy, um, and I don't know. I don't think anyone knows about that at
Oh
all,
my
except for that
God.
guy.
Well, thanks for sharing. That's freaking
Yeah,
awesome. Oh my God.
yeah. I mean, it was it was something. It was now looking back, it was overly dramatic for sure. I would still
Totally.
love to have that guitar,
Right?
but it
Do
was
you have
fun.
any pieces of it, like just the neck or something that you saved?
No, I think I threw it away.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, I can't wait. Maybe when we post this on TikTok, whoever that girl was that broke your heart will see this and she'll be like, dang, I really messed up.
Uh, maybe. Who knows?
It's so funny. So what
I'm
was
not counting on anything.
the what was the most challenging part of Teen Wolf, the movie for you, and how did you overcome it?
Um, I think the most challenging part, it, well, honestly, physically, I hadn't done that many night shoots since I filmed the show.
Okay.
And so staying up like night after night after night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. was really fun. I missed doing that, but I felt older this time. I was like, I'm getting really tired. I like had to find time to take naps and stuff. And I never did that before, so that was weird.
Yeah.
Um, I felt old. Um,
That's rough. That's hard to pull all-nighters. That's wild.
it was really, like I said, it was really fun, but my body just wasn't as spry as it used to be with that kind of stuff, I guess.
Totally.
That was something, but you know, I wouldn't look at it as difficult, but I think the big thing was trying to find that energy with Liam where it still feels like him,
Hmm.
and you know, um, but finding the kind of, I think everyone wanted to bring a little bit more of like maturity and darkness to their characters.
Okay.
So for me, it was kind of finding that thing of like Liam had done a lot of work um, dealing with his anger management issues. 'Cause that's a big thing in the series. Is he's an IED, which is intermittent explosive disorder. So he's diagnosed with really bad anger issues,
Mm,
and so I found this kind of little nook that was like he had done a lot of work to kind of overcome that stuff and get in control of himself, but everything that's happened with what's going on in the storyline of this show of the movie kind of brings it all back out of him, and he's almost feeling like he's losing control again, and it's kind of like a scary thing for him because he's you know, it's been a long time since he had to deal with something this high stakes.
yeah. Wow. Talk about like such an incredible opportunity for acting and just really working on that side of things. It's got to be really rewarding to like nail that kind of subtext, that backstory, and cool. I mean, I can't wait to see that like all play out on screen. That's really cool. How has well, I think you might have just pretty much answered this. I was gonna ask, how has Liam changed from the original series? So we've heard how he's like evolved. Is there anything else that like sticks out of how he's changed?
Um, More wrinkles, a beard. Liam has a beard now, which was fun. Um,
Love it.
and that is a funny thing because I'm Italian, so I've always had like chest hair, and I've been like a hairy
Yeah.
since I was a teenager, and so I'd always have to go on set, and I'd be shaving my face and shaving my chest and doing all this and shaving my stomach,
That's
and like
funny.
ever since I was like 18. So this was the first time Liam ever got to be just like fully the way I am, you know, because
Yeah.
it's the age is appropriate now.
Yeah. That's
Um,
funny. I'm
so that
Italian to my whole family, so I get it. Yeah. That's
yeah,
oh, I love
it's a blessing and a curse. Don't get as cold in the winter, but
it.
it look like I don't even know like a mongoose. Um,
I love it.
but that was one thing, and um I think also this relationship he has with Hikari is a new thing to see Liam in because his relationship with Hayden, who was his girlfriend in the series, um, was more of like a first love and very kind of, you know, they're kind of how it is in high school. You're dealing with your own
Yeah.
problems, you're dealing with school and your parents and this and that and monsters trying to kill you and um and so the relationship was a little bit more like bubbly and kind of like hot and cold, and this one's way more grounded and solid, and like they're like really a team, which is cool to see Liam have a partnership like that because
Yeah.
he's always kind of had a hard time communicating and being like a partner.
Yeah.
So that was fun to play.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So excited to see this. So with another question, when we spoke
Yeah.
to Tyler Posey years ago, we asked him how they incorporated his real tattoos into the show. And so you have a lot of tattoos. Did the writers do that for you for the movie or anything like that?
No, no. I think, you know, I think a couple of things. I think Posey had some tattoos that really kind of worked well with the character, and they found a way to make it work. Um, and also in the show, there's so much more time to kind of explain all these little intricacies, whereas the movie is just, you know, I don't know the exact time, like 2 hours, whatever it is, and so you only have you know, a little bracket of time where you can get so much information in, especially with how many years have passed. So I don't think the tattoos for me would have been that would almost have been like wasted time for them to try to develop that in
Yeah.
such a short amount of time with so much information that needs to come in. And I think I think the tattoos could have made sense with the character.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think that's Liam. I don't think, you know, because Scott McCall, he like rides the motorcycle, and he's like a badass in that way. And I think Liam comes from more of a prep school background and kind of like more like upper class parents. Like his dad's a doctor, his mom's a lawyer, or something like that. So he comes from more of a clean
Yeah.
cut family. So I just don't think it makes sense for him.
So do they
That
do
was such a
makeup?
long-winded answer.
No, it's good. Do
Uh,
they do makeup to cover him up?
so luckily, a lot of the film takes place, I think, in like the fall or something. So as far as I know, at least that's what it looks like to me. But that's not necessarily defined through writing. It's just my assumption. Um, but like I'm like, so I don't want to give any spoilers. They're like, it's in the fall. They're like, no, it's not. It's in spring. Um, but yeah, so we had a lot of long sleeve clothes,
Okay.
jackets, this and that. And there's one part where they do cover up my tattoos, and Carly and everyone else in the makeup team are great. They do such a good job. It was really weird because I hadn't
Yeah.
got my tattoos covered up in a while, and I was like looking at myself like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is wild.
That
And they
is
did all of them, all my
really
arms. Yeah. So
wow.
it was weird. I felt
Yeah.
like I was 12.
That's impressive. I was thinking about it too. I used to do acting in LA, and I remember that my mom was always like, "No, you can't get tattoos, blah blah blah." And I was like, "No, they have a makeup. Like it's and like even casting directors, they always specify no tattoos. It's like, well, if I show up with them all concealed, how would you know? So I always thought that was funny. That people like say that, but it's like, no, these hair and makeup people are insane. They can literally make it look like you're airbrushed, like no tattoos. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it really it depends on what the project is,
Yeah.
but for the most part they always have a great not I shouldn't say great, but they have a bigger makeup department and they can cover more ground and do things like that. Some indie films, I get it, they don't want to waste time with that. Like we don't have enough money for, someone who
Yeah.
specializes in covering tattoos. We need to just get in, get out.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, it's never been a problem for me, and
That's cool.
uh, yeah,
It probably helps at sometimes too, like the roles that you go in for, it like gives you that edge and stuff. So depending on what it is, so you never know. I think it's great.
yeah,
I say I'm team tattoo. Get tattoos and cover them up if you need to.
yeah. I think you just got to live your life. I think that's a hard thing with acting is you get it's so hard to get jobs sometimes, and so you really want to just please
Yeah,
everyone, and then you don't end up doing the things you want to do. So
totally.
you got to find a balance with it.
No, for sure.
I love tattoos, and I got them, and they haven't been a problem for me.
Yeah, I love it. Sweet. So, how did you and Kylan create your bromance on screen? Did you do anything outside of filming to get in your characters to make that great chemistry? It's
um,
it's great.
I love Kylan. Kylan is one of my brothers. I actually I'll try to make it as short of a story as possible, but um, Kylan and I met through my buddy Aramis Knight, who's another actor. He's done a lot of stuff. But I met Aramis when I was like 10. So I've known Aramis, and we went to middle school together. And then I think I met Kylan at his house, or I think it was either at his house or I was at Comic Con for Superman, and Aramis and Kylan were at Comic Con for um, Ender's Game. And so we all met up and just hung out that whole time, and I really got to know Kylan there. And ever since then, we've all been best friends. And um, then I booked Teen Wolf, and then he booked Teen Wolf, and then we started living together after that.
Oh, cool.
When I turned 18, uh, I moved into my own place, and we lived together, and so we spent every single day together.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's pretty much how we formed that kind of relationship, was by having it.
Totally. You guys are like
Yeah.
real life best friends. So
Hmm.
that's awesome. We had a question here that was like high demand. Everybody wanted to know. Oh, here it is. What do you think of the ship theme between Theo and Liam?
It's crazy to me how much this has taken off, which I get it because Cody uh and I do such a good job with the characters. It's a bromance, we're like really
Yeah.
funny together, and it's kind of very like Laurel and Hardy kind of physical acting and very funny, and um so I understand why it's a ship, because we have great chemistry together when we act on screen. And I think that fans are allowed to have their own imagination and creativity,
Yeah.
because they do a lot of fan fiction writing, and there's all these forums, or I don't know exactly how it all happens, but they have websites where they write their own like alternate storylines and stuff, and that's really cool. It's if our chemistry on screen creates a reaction and creates people to causes people to want to create as well, I think that's a great thing. I don't think it makes sense in the actual story of Teen Wolf necessarily, as far as I know, for us to ever actually have like a romantic relationship. Um, but in terms of loving those two characters together, and calling them like a sort of duo, I guess is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I could totally see them having like their own little spin-off or something, just kind of the two of them going on weird, wild adventures, almost more like Scooby-Doo. That's kind of
Yeah.
how it always felt, with me and him. Was like this kind of funny back and forth.
Oh, cool. I love it. So one of our fans, Ms. username is Mizba Prince, asked, so what's the story behind how you got the role of Liam to begin with?
Um, it's a pretty interesting story. I had auditioned, I don't know if it was a year before or 6 months before, but between a year and 6 months, um, for the character of young Derek. So, young Derek Hale, when I was like 14 or 15. And I went in, I auditioned, callback, producer callback, director's callback, chemistry reads, network chemistry read. So I did like all these auditions, and it probably went for like over the course of a month or something like that. I think I had about 8 auditions. And then finally at the end, when all the producers and when Jeff was in the room, they were kind of like in this weird little like audience, like play. It was weird. It was cool, but weird. Um, like theater chairs. And I do the audition, and then afterwards I go outside, and he's like, "You're great." And I think in the moment they told me like that I was too young.
Ah,
Because it was between me and this one other actor, and he said, "But don't worry, I'm gonna bring you back for something else." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I've heard it all before. I've been doing this for a little while. So then it was funny. I actually was in high school, and I kind of was like, it gets so tiring auditioning so much. Like because you kind of, at least when I was a kid, I would get my hopes up, and then like think something was gonna happen when I got a call back or this or that, and then the dump of like it not happening was just so like it started to get heavy for a while. So I was
Yeah.
like, screw this, I'm gonna be in a punk band. And me and my friends in high school like had a garage punk band, and then I got a like straight to chemistry reads for Teen Wolf for a character named Liam, um like months later, and I was like, just quit acting. Like, what the hell? I could even call my manager, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm done. And and then I went in, and it was with Dylan O'Brien and Tyler Posey, and Jeff was there, and some of the other producers. And I remember I went in and I talked to them in the kitchen beforehand, and we were talking about skateboarding and like punk bands and stuff. And I was like, oh, these guys. I was nervous out of my. I was, but I was having a really fun time, and it was cool because we all had the same interest. And then we went in, did the thing, and then they told me in the room that I had got it, and I was like, oh, dope. And I didn't even know, I knew it was a reoccurring, but I didn't know I was going to be on it for like, the next 4 or 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was really, it's cool how things work out, and I'm very lucky to have
Yeah.
gotten to do that, and have Jeff kind of have my back like that.
Yeah. That's such a cool story too, because sometimes I can totally relate to what you're saying. And in high school, I went on a ton of auditions, and same thing. It's like the weight of it, and then it's like the ups and the downs, and you think you're gonna get it and you don't, and it is so hard. But what I think is so cool about your story is like you let it go, but like it was meant for you, so it came back to you. And
Hmm.
I think that that's really cool and probably really inspiring for a lot of people that will watch this. Because yeah, sometimes it's like you feel like you have to have it all figured out, but that's not really life, right? So but it just happened for you anyway. It came back exactly the way it was supposed to. So that's really cool. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah, of course. And that's actually a good way of putting it. Like, it's not about having it all figured out. It's about when it happens, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think that's more of the thing. I would thinking is one of like the greatest tools and the worst curses ever, because it's a great problem solver to be able to think, but also it's a great depressor to sit and obsess over, like, what did I do wrong, or
Yeah.
like, am I going to get this? You just got to stop thinking about it, and
Oh,
then
for
if it
sure.
happens, it happens, and you're happy. You kind of are just happy is not the right word, but content either way.
Totally. And I feel like when you're older, it's so much easier to understand that and process that. But when you're in high school, it's so hard to be like, it's okay. Like, this is a long term thing. It might take you 10 years, but it'll be worth it. It's so like everything's in the moment. And so
Yeah.
it's so challenging. But yeah, that's so cool. I'm so glad that worked out for you and that Jeff had your back. That's amazing. Okay, one last question and then I will let you go. But is there any
For sure.
one like funny behind the scenes memory with a cast member or just something really special that happened off camera that's a cool moment that the fans would love to know?
uh yeah, I mean, I think people will like it because of who's in the story. I think it's one of those stories where it's like you kind of had to be there for it to really be funny, but
Yeah.
it's like stained in my memory for forever. We were doing, well, actually now there's two stories I could think of, but there's this scene in I forget when. It's like one of like the really big Theo and Liam scenes where we're running from the Ghost Riders, and we're at the hospital, and that's like some of like the scenes that fans love the most of him and I. And there's this part where or I'm sorry, not the hospital. We're at the sheriff's station, and we run out and we jump in this sheriff's car, and we're trying to figure out where the key is because we just ripped this key box off the wall inside and brought it with us. And we rip it open, and there's like 100, 200 keys in here. And the producers and Jeff, like, they gave us a couple of like little points, but they really let us kind of improv a lot of that scene. And we were going through these keys, and then I found this tiny, tiny key that doesn't look like a car key, and he just like slaps that out of my hand, and it was just like this really funny moment that was very natural, and like they let us really have some fun and be creative as actors and improv, and I think that's a really uh just cool thing to say out loud, because it was a really fun moment, and it was just cool to, like, the amount of fun that we were having in the scene is the amount of fun we were having in real life. It's
Yeah.
like, and the energy was so frantic and just on the spot. And there was another time where Cody was. There's this scene where Cody has to. Um, he comes back from the dead, and he comes out of this hole, and I'm like holding him up against the wall because I don't know who he. I didn't like. I think I didn't expect him to come out of the ground, and he's like a double. He's a double crosser, so he's like evil and good, evil and good. And, he was supposed to cry, and I just, like, he was crying too, and that's like, I feel like as an actor sometimes, especially with the circumstances, it's really hard to cry.
Yeah.
And he was doing such a good job, but I couldn't stop laughing at him because
Oh.
it was just like, it was just really funny. We were like this close to each other, and I'm like choking him. And he's like crying, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And I think we laughed for about like 2 hours straight. We started that scene at like 2 in the morning, and we didn't finish till 4 a.m.
Oh.
because I couldn't keep it together, and then it made him laugh too, and then we were just it was really and everyone hated us that day.
I bet. They're like, we want to go home. We want to wrap. That's so funny.
Yeah, there's I could tell you one more story and then I'll let you go because now I'm like now I'm on a roll with them. I got this tattoo the day I turned 18, and I was in the middle of filming like season 5A, and you know, legally, they don't usually. I guess I don't know if it's illegal or if it's just really not smart. If you get a new tattoo, the makeup artists don't cover it up because if it gets
Oh.
infected, it's kind of their fault, and so they're very against um, covering up tattoos that haven't healed. And I had kind of went around the producers and went around the director, and I like called head of makeup and I called the wardrobe people, and I was like, "Hey, I really want to get this tattoo for my birthday. Does the schedule say that we're doing any more scenes, or I have to wear a short sleeve shirt? Because then, once we do a new outfit, I can wear long sleeves." So it's a very meticulous thing to try to weasel my way into with getting a tattoo, but um, and so I get the tattoo, and then on Sunday night I get a call sheet, and all the schedule has changed, and we have to reshoot all this stuff where I have a short sleeve shirt on.
Oh no.
So I get to set. I had just gotten my tattoo like the day before, and I'm in the makeup trailer, and I'm like, I'm in trouble. I'm like, can't you just cover it up? And they're like, no, we can't cover it up. That's not good for it. And a lot of makeup artists have tattoos too, so they know about all this stuff.
Yeah.
So then I go on the set because the makeup artist calls the director, and she's like, hey, we have a problem. And then I go on set, and he scolds me like the director scolds me like he's my dad, which I
Oh.
kind of deserved it, because it's just like I could have waited, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to because I was
Yeah.
18 and impatient, and I really wanted a tattoo. And he was like, I don't even remember what he said. He was like, I'm just so disappointed in you. What do you need a tattoo for? It's like, you couldn't have waited a couple more weeks till we were done. He's like,
Oh
I'm just
no.
so disappointed. And then he laughed at me, and then I was so mad. And then I went back to the makeup trailer, and I was like, just cover it up. I kind of yelled at the girl
Yeah.
because she was so nice and she wasn't gonna do it, but we had to do it. And I was like, just
Yeah.
cover it up.
Oh.
And so I got railed. I got reamed, wrung out
Well, now you have a
on set.
tattoo to like remind you of that memory quite literally. So that's kind of awesome.
I guess. Yeah, that's true. Now it's really funny. I mean, I'm all good with everybody. Like, there's no bad
Yeah.
blood. It was just because he was kind of like my dad in some ways. All
Yeah.
the directors are kind of like your dad when you're that age. So
Totally.
it was really fun. But yeah, anyways, those were those 3 stories instead of one. But there you go.
I love it. No, that's great. Thank you. It's so fun too, because like whenever you have a sleeves, especially, everybody's always like, tell us like the story behind your tattoo. And it's like now you have, a really good one for
Yeah,
I
I'll
love
probably
it.
have a couple months like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you again for this interview.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Have
really
a great
appreciate it.
rest of your day. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you. You too. It's nice to meet you.
You too. Bye.
And don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment Mag.
I love it.